4 years. That's how long the email has sat in your drafts folder, the one that quits the job, or applies to the program, or finally tells her how you feel. 4 years of opening it, rereading it, closing it again. 4 years of the same private sentence, when I'm ready. You're not lying when you say that. That's what makes it so hard to see. You mean it every time. Picture the actual moment. 2 a.m, phone light on your face, the cursor blinking at the end of a sentence you've rewritten 40 times. You've stopped editing the email. You're praying that if you wait one more night, a different version of you will finally show up. Calmer, braver. Already finished becoming the person who could send this thing. That version isn't coming. Say it slower. That version is not coming. Maybe it isn't an email for you. Maybe it's the business plan finished for 3 years and never registered. The manuscript that ends on page 200 and has never once been sent to an agent. The conversation with your father you keep rehearsing in the shower and never having in the kitchen. The gym membership charge to your card every month. For a body you keep promising to show up for once things calm down. Things are not going to calm down. Nothing you're waiting for is coming. You've built your whole life around a threshold that doesn't exist, a finish line drawn before the race even starts, a permission slip nobody on earth is holding. And here's the cruelty of it. You've convinced yourself this is virtue. You call it being careful. You call it not rushing into things. You call it waiting for the right moment. What if it's none of that? What if it's just fear, dressed in the uniform of patience? Watch how the goalpost moves. First it was, once I have more experience. Then once I have more savings. Then once the timing is better. Every year you clear one version of the bar, and a new one appears, always exactly one increment out of reach, as if some part of you is building the bar higher on purpose, because as long as it's out of reach, you never have to find out what happens when you clear it. Here's the part that should actually unsettle you. The feeling you're waiting for was never going to arrive as a feeling first. It was always going to arrive as an action. Taken before you felt anything close to ready, and some part of you has known that for years, which is exactly why you've worked so hard not to hear it. There was a man who would have said all of this to your face without blinking. He never even wanted the job. He preferred a quiet life spent studying philosophy. And once the throne landed on him anyway, there was no morning where he got to opt back out. He commanded the most powerful army alive. He buried 4 of his own children before they reached adulthood. He ruled an empire while a plague killed a staggering share of the people in it. And he wrote his most private thoughts. Not for you, not for anyone. Thoughts he never intended to be read. By lamplight in a war camp on a frozen riverbank, fighting a war he never wanted. In Greek, a language that wasn't even the official tongue of the empire he ran. And in those pages, this man confesses something you've probably never let yourself consider. He didn't feel ready either. Not on the morning he became emperor. Not on the last morning of his life. He stood the way you're standing right now, at the edge of moving water. A river he couldn't cross without getting wet, and couldn't force to go still no matter how long he stood there staring at it, waiting for the surface to calm down enough to trust it. He crossed anyway. Not because the water stopped moving, because he finally understood something about rivers you haven't let yourself understand yet. Here is where Marcus Aurelius begins, and it is not gentle. He wrote to himself, in his own private notebook, a line so blunt it should be printed on the inside of your eyelids. You could leave life right now. Not eventually. Not after the plan is finished. Right now. Let that decide what you do and say and think for the rest of today. Sit with what that actually means. It means the version of you rehearsing the perfect resignation letter for the 4th year running is operating on a hidden assumption. That time is a resource you're guaranteed more of, so spending some more of it getting ready costs nothing. Marcus is telling you that assumption is a fantasy. You are not saving time by waiting. You are spending it on nothing at all. He watched 4 of his children die before they grew up. He knew exactly how little warning life gives before it takes something back. So when he tells himself he could leave life right now, he isn't being dramatic. He's reporting what he actually watched happen, over and over, to people who also assumed they had time to spare. A man delays telling his father he loves him because the moment never feels right. He'll say it at Christmas, when things are calmer. His father has a stroke in November and never speaks again. That's not a hypothetical for Marcus. That's Tuesday in a war camp. Now the harder concept, the one that actually hands you a weapon instead of just a scare. Marcus calls it the ruling faculty. Your mind, he says, is not at the mercy of your feelings. It commands them, the way a general commands soldiers. A soldier doesn't wait to feel like marching before dawn. The order is given. The body follows the order, feeling or no feeling, cold or not cold, willing or not willing. You've inverted this completely. You've put your feelings in command and your actions in the ranks, waiting for permission. I'll act once I feel ready is a soldier waiting for his own fear to salute him first. Marcus would call that a mutiny, against yourself, run by yourself, every single morning. Think of the manager who has to deliver the hardest feedback of her career on Monday. She doesn't feel confident. She probably won't, not by Monday, maybe not ever completely. Marcus would tell her the feeling was never on the agenda. The meeting is on the agenda. The ruling faculty doesn't need confidence to issue an order. It only needs a decision. Confidence, if it shows up at all, arrives afterward, built out of the very actions taken without it. This leads to the cut that actually reorganizes how you see the whole problem, the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to you, your judgments, your choices, your actions. Everything else is not. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The feeling of readiness is not up to you. It arrives or it doesn't, on its own schedule, for reasons your conscious mind barely touches. But the action, sending the email, walking into the gym, opening the document and writing one sentence, that is entirely up to you, right now, feeling or no feeling. You've spent years trying to manage the one thing you can't control, while ignoring the one thing you always could. Which one have you actually been managing this whole time? Most of your suffering on this exact subject comes from precisely that confusion. Spending years negotiating with a feeling that never had a vote to give, while the one thing that actually decides your life sat there the whole time, fully within reach, untouched. Now go to where he wrote it. A riverbank in the land of the Quadi, across the Danube deep in enemy territory, sometime after 170 AD. Picture the scene honestly. No library, no marble, no comfort. A canvas tent, the smell of horses and wood smoke. Dispatches from a war that wouldn't end, arriving faster than he could answer them. And in the middle of that, exhausted by lamplight, he stops to write to himself about rivers, because even there, even then, the question of how to act without waiting for calm followed him everywhere he went. Marcus writes that time is a river of events, a violent current. The moment something appears, it's already being carried off, and the next thing is already arriving to replace it. There's no still frame anywhere in that river. There's no moment where the water simply stops, so you can safely step in. This is the part that should feel dangerous, because it takes something you've treated as neutral, waiting, and reveals it as a lie you've been telling yourself while the current keeps moving, whether you consent to it or not. You were never standing still on that riverbank. You were already being carried, If these words carved an echo within your void, do not turn back. The descent has just begun. Click below, subscribe, and claim your reality. Here's the assumption you walked in with, and it's time to break it. You believe waiting is doing nothing, neutral, safe, a pause button on your life while you get your ingredients together. You've been treating it like a kind of savings account, patience accruing interest, courage quietly compounding somewhere out of sight, waiting to be withdrawn all at once on the day you finally act. Marcus would ask you a simple, brutal question. Paused. Compared to what? The Stoics had a concept for what happens in your mind before any action. They called it assent. It sounds abstract until you apply it to something small. The moment you glance at the gym bag by the door and think, not today, that thought is assent. You said yes to an impression. I am too tired, as if it were a fact reported from outside you, instead of a proposal you had full authority to reject. Before you act, you assent to an impression. You say yes to it internally, and that yes is itself an act, whether you notice it or not. Every day you don't send the email. You are not failing to act. You are actively assenting to another day of not sending it. You are choosing it, quietly, repeatedly. 4 years, remember. That's not an absence of choice. That's 1,400 choices, each one made at 2 a.m. with the cursor blinking. Each one dressed up as not yet, so it wouldn't have to feel like what it actually was, a decision. Now go back to the river, because it's about to get worse for you. You pictured yourself standing on the bank, patiently waiting for the water to go still. Here's what that picture leaves out. The bank is made of the same river. Riverbanks erode. The ground under your feet, the very spot you think you're standing still on, is being carried downstream too, just slowly enough that you've mistaken it for solid earth. Stand on a real riverbank long enough and you'll feel it. The soft give underfoot, the water finding a new inch of your shoe that wasn't wet a minute ago. Nobody drowns loudly in this. It happens exactly the way it's happening to you. Gradually, quietly, one unnoticed inch at a time. There was never a stable platform outside the current from which you could safely judge whether you were ready to enter it. You were never on the bank. You were already in the river. You've just been drowning slowly enough to call it standing still. Sit with the darkest version of this, because Marcus wouldn't let you look away from it, and neither will I. If nothing changes, you will die still waiting. Not metaphorically. Actually, there will be a final day, and on that day you will be exactly as unready as you are reading this sentence right now, because the readiness was never downstream, waiting for you to arrive at it. It was never coming, no matter how long you gave it. Picture your own funeral for 1 honest second, not the poetry of it, the actual folding chairs, the flowers going slightly sweet in a warm room. Someone stands up to talk about who you were. What do they say about the 4 years? Do they even know the email existed? The email stays in the drafts folder forever. Someone finds it after you're gone, or nobody does, and either way it never once reflected the person who wrote it, because that person never let themselves exist out loud in the world. Only in a folder marked, "Not yet." Now here's what's supposed to happen to you after a cut like that, and it isn't despair. It's relief, real physical relief, the kind you feel drop through your shoulders, not just your thoughts. Because if the current was always moving, then you were never actually required to make it stop. Nobody is asking you to calm the river. Nature never demanded that of you. That was a standard you invented yourself and then punished yourself daily for failing to reach. What nature actually asks, according to Marcus, is smaller and far more available. Move with the current instead of pretending you're standing outside it. You don't have to become fearless to send the email. You only have to stop requiring fearlessness as a precondition for your own hand moving. The water was never going to hold still for you. That's not a punishment. That's the first piece of good news this whole video has handed you. You don't need it to. Not anymore. Four weapons, forged for the current you're already standing in. Marcus didn't build these for comfort. Use them exactly as prescribed, or don't use them at all. You don't get to skip one because it feels unnecessary. If a tool doesn't cost you something today, you're not using it right. Weapon 1. The VAI. Marcus used to pull his mind up and out of his body, up over the war camp, over the Danube, over the whole Roman Empire, until Rome itself looked like an anthill, and his own worries looked like two ants arguing over a crumb. He did this on purpose, daily, as discipline, not to feel small in a hopeless way, to feel accurately sized. Do it right now, with your actual hesitation. Pull your mind up and out of the room you're sitting in, past the ceiling, past the roof, past the clouds, until you can see the curve of the earth. And your whole life is a single point of light on it. And inside that point of light is a person still deciding whether they're ready to press send on an email. From up there, does 4 years of waiting look like patience? Or does it look like what it actually is? A rounding error you've been mistaking for a mountain. Come back down. You now know what your hesitation weighs from a height that doesn't flatter you. Carry that number into the next hour. Weapon 2, DEI Dawn Command. He confesses this himself, and it should make you like him more, not less. Some mornings, the Emperor of Rome did not want to get out of bed. He lay there telling himself he needed the rest, that the blankets were warmer than the work waiting outside them. The exact excuse you make at 6 a.m. With the alarm buzzing and your resolution to finally start already dissolving into the pillow. His answer to himself wasn't gentler feelings. It was an order. I am a human being, and the work of a human being is what I'm about to go and do. Get up. Go do it, feeling or no feeling, warm blankets or not. Here's your version. The next time you catch yourself waiting to feel ready before the smaller real action, opening the document, lacing the shoes, dialing the number, give yourself an order instead of a vote. Not, do I want to? Just, rise. You don't ask a soldier's fear for its opinion before a march. Stop asking yours for one before your day. Weapon 3. The Night Ledger. You already know what you postponed today. Don't pretend you don't. You felt the exact moment you chose comfort over the thing that actually mattered, and you felt it clearly enough to look away from it fast, on purpose. Marcus reviewed his own conduct every single night, in writing, without mercy and without spiraling into self-hatred either, just an honest accounting. The way a commander reviews a battle he's still fighting tomorrow. Tonight, before you sleep, write one line. What did I tell myself I'd do once I'm ready? And what did I do instead? Do this every night for 2 weeks. You're not writing this to punish yourself. You're writing it because a pattern that stays invisible stays in charge. Once it's in ink, in your own handwriting, it stops being a private mood and becomes a documented decision you're making against yourself, on the record, night after night. And something in you will not tolerate seeing that in writing for very long. Weapon 4. Fuel from the blockage. Marcus's sharpest line, and the one this whole video has been building toward. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle isn't standing between you and the action. The obstacle is the raw material the action is made of. You think you need the fear to disappear before you write the sentence. Wrong request. made to the wrong current. Write the sentence shaking. Let the shake show up in the syntax if it has to. Send the email with your hand unsteady on the trackpad, your stomach doing what it always does right before you close the app instead. The unreadiness you've been waiting to clear out of the way was never blocking the work. It is the work. Use it, or it uses you. Go back to 2 in the morning, phone light on your face. The email again, the same 41st rewrite. The cursor blinking at the end of a sentence that has never once been allowed to finish existing outside your drafts folder. Only this time something in the room is different, and it isn't the light. You stop rereading it for typos you've already fixed 6 times. You stop scanning it for the sentence that will finally make you feel brave enough to send it. Because you now know that sentence doesn't exist. No combination of words was ever going to produce a feeling on command. You put your thumb over the button. Your hand isn't steady. Your chest is doing the thing it always does right before you close the app instead. You send it anyway. Not because the fear left, because you finally stopped requiring it to leave first. That's the whole river, crossed in under 4 seconds, at 2 in the morning, by someone who did not feel ready and did the thing anyway. Notice what's actually happening in your body right now, reading this. That's not relief because it's over. That's relief because you recognize it. You've been standing at this exact edge before. Nothing about the water changed. It was never going to. The current that carried away your 20s is the same current carrying this moment right now, and it will keep moving regardless of what you decide while reading this sentence. That was always true. The only thing that changes is whether you're the one who steps into it with your eyes open, or the one who gets quietly dragged in anyway, years from now, having called the dragging waiting. Marcus didn't get to choose his river. Plague, war, a son who would go on to disgrace everything his father built, a body failing him for the last decade of his own life. None of it arrived on a schedule that asked whether he felt prepared. He wrote his private notebook, the one that was never meant for you or anyone, inside that current, not beside it. Every sentence in it was written by a man who was still, somehow, exactly as unready as you are right now. He crossed anyway, every single day for 19 years, on a throne he never asked for. Not because the water went still. The water never goes still. Stop waiting for your river to stop moving. Step into the one you're already standing in. What's the email, or the door, or the sentence, or the conversation sitting in your drafts folder right now, waiting on a version of you that was never going to arrive? Tell me exactly what it is, in the comments, before the feeling of readiness talks you out of it one more time.